The day I rolled into that HOA-ruled neighborhood blasting Travis Scott from my white-on-white Ferrari 812 Superfast, I knew I'd stirred up a hornet's nest, especially when I caught the first death stare from the leather-faced suburban tyrant known only as Karen. She had the standard issue haircut, a clipboard surgically attached to her hand, and a face that looked like she bit lemons for breakfast. Her lips curled into a pretzel the second she saw my other two Ferraris. Yep, the cherry red SF90 and the matte black F8 Spider, following behind me like loyal attack dogs. I wasn't even trying to flex. Okay, maybe a little. I just happened to be 20, fresh out of college, and swimming in luxury. Most people ask what I do. Karen didn't ask. She assumed. And her assumption? I had to be a drug dealer. There's no way a kid, her words, not mine, could afford 3 Ferraris and 2 Rolls Royces without selling something stronger than lemonade. Apparently, hard work, multiple tech patents, and family legacy meant nothing to her. Now, I wasn't just driving cars. I had a full-time chef imported from Italy making carbonara that made grown men cry. I had a pool that glowed in neon colors and changed temperature with a phone app. My closet had a fingerprint scanner. Meanwhile, Karen's idea of luxury was a Keurig and a 3-year-old Lexus. She hated me with the intensity of 1,000 HOA violations. It started small. She left anonymous letters in my mailbox about concerns regarding neighborhood image. Then came the suspicious activity reports. And soon enough, she marched up to my door, flanked by 2 garden gnome-looking HOA board members, yelling about a formal inquiry into my source of income. "Oh, I'm sorry," I said, standing in my Versace robe while sipping a $900 bottle of champagne at noon. "Is there a law against being richer than your zip code?" Karen was not amused. She squinted at me like she was decoding the Zodiac Killer's final message. "We know what you're doing," she hissed, her voice vibrating like a blender with a fork in it. "You won't be here long." Cool. Challenge accepted. She filed her first fake police report the next day, claiming she saw me handing off packages to suspicious men in hoodies. "You mean my golf buddies in off-white?" "Right." The officer who came to check things out ended up leaving with a signed bottle of Dom and 2 front-row tickets to the Lakers game. But Karen didn't stop. She turned it into a full-time career. Every week, a new accusation. I was smuggling, laundering, hiding cartel members under my pool deck. I swear, she once suggested I was burying bodies in my koi pond. I decided it was time to give her a real show. So I hosted a party, not just any party, a fireworks blasting, celebrity cameo stuffed, DJ on the roof type of party. I invited athletes, models, even a few mayors. Karen called the cops 5 times in 2 hours. They showed up, took selfies, and dipped. When the news van rolled up to film my excessive celebration, Karen came storming over, her heels sinking into my lawn like quicksand. "You're finished," she shrieked, spit flying like she was rabid. "Oh, I doubt it," I smirked. "I haven't even started." The next morning, I woke up to find a full HOA summons duct taped to my Bentley's windshield, like it was some kind of community scarlet letter, written in size 48 font, like she thought I was legally blind. Violation: operating a commercial enterprise from a residential property. Karen must have finally found a thesaurus. I peeled it off, chuckled, and wiped the glue residue with a Hermes scarf I didn't even like. I decided it was time to up the lavishness to mind-numbing levels. I wasn't just going to live. I was going to lavish. I hired a private violinist to play Vivaldi's Four Seasons every afternoon by my infinity pool. My mail was now delivered via drone. I had my 2 Rolls Royces parked like sentinels at my circular driveway, one in pearl white, the other dipped in a custom gold wrap that made Karen scream audibly the first time it caught sunlight and reflected into her kitchen window. Karen, at this point, had turned into a full-blown neighborhood dictator. She started calling emergency HOA meetings like we were in DEFCON 2. Her latest stunt? Getting some shady-looking private investigators to stalk me with binoculars from the front of her minivan. Except they weren't PIs. They were 2 laid-off mall cops named Rick and Doug who gave up after 10 minutes and ended up asking for autographs when they saw my signed photo with Elon Musk in the foyer. Karen went ballistic. She threw her phone at her dashboard and accidentally called the sheriff's department. Again. This time, she tried to escalate things to county level. She walked into the sheriff's office with a manila folder stuffed with printouts of my Instagram stories, labeled evidence of illegal activity. I wish I was kidding. She was convinced I was running a narco ring out of my 5-car garage. He's laundering money through his pool guy. I just know it, she told them, while pointing at a grainy photo of me playing poker with my landscaper. Thing is, the sheriff knew me very well. We'd gone deep sea fishing last summer. He even borrowed my yacht once to propose to his girlfriend. So when Karen dumped her evidence on his desk like she was starring in Law and Order HOA unit, he didn't even blink. I think you need to go home, ma'am, he said without looking up. That made her even more paranoid. She became obsessed with finding out who I really was. She asked neighbors if I had a secret identity, like I was Batman. She started trying to hack the license plates of my cars with some janky app she downloaded off Reddit. Once, she even disguised herself as a lawn maintenance worker to sneak into my backyard. It didn't go well. My security dogs chased her back over the fence, shredding her Dollar Tree gardening gloves in the process. Meanwhile, I bought a hot tub that could fit 12 and had underwater speakers. Just because I could, I invited the entire block for champagne brunches, serving caviar-topped waffles with a smile, while Karen peered through her blinds like the Grinch watching Whoville celebrate. But what Karen didn't realize, what she couldn't realize, was that her obsession had woken a beast she was absolutely not ready for. Because the moment she submitted that forged police affidavit accusing me of multi-state narcotics trafficking, it triggered a legal response that had been loaded and cocked for weeks. Karen's downfall didn't start with a bang. It started with a brunch invitation she didn't get. I threw a lavish Sunday party with a guest list that included a tech billionaire, 3 actors from a superhero franchise, and the mayor of a neighboring city. We had a sushi chef flown in from Tokyo, and a mixologist with blue hair making cocktails that literally smoked like dragon breath. Everyone came dressed like Bond villains. It was glorious. Karen stood across the street in an off-brand bathrobe, armed with binoculars, yelling into her Bluetooth headset like she was conducting a SWAT raid. Her HOA lackeys stood beside her nervously holding clipboards, sweating like they'd been drafted into a war they didn't believe in. By Tuesday, I had a certified letter delivered to my door. Karen had compiled over 50 accusations in a single document. She even handwrote "criminal investigation needed" on the envelope like she was sending it to the FBI. Her crown jewel? A blurry screenshot from one of my IG stories where I held a cigar in one hand and an envelope of poker winnings in the other. To Karen, that was enough to scream, "Narcos," with a PowerPoint. So I made a call. Dad doesn't do dramatic entrances. He doesn't need to. He walks like authority and breathes legal power. You don't question him. You adjust your tie and sit up straighter when he's in the room. So when he casually walked into the county building that Friday in his Armani suit and steel gray sunglasses, the entire courthouse tensed up like it owed him money. Karen had no clue who she was messing with. My father wasn't just in government. He owned the land the courthouse was built on, literally. His name was on 3 property titles the county uses for official business. And when he pulled up her name in the database, that HOA she chaired, it was technically operating on county land via an expired permit. Oops. Meanwhile, Karen started running neighborhood workshops on how to identify criminal youth behavior. I kid you not. She printed flyers with my face pixelated like I was a suspect on a crime show. One of her presentations included a diagram that connected luxury cars to urban crime syndicates. She said this with a straight face while sipping lukewarm chai tea in a folding chair. But karma, oh sweet flaming karma, was rolling in fast, because just when Karen filed an official complaint with the county commissioner, she got a very polite letter back, stamped with my dad's county seal. It read, "Dear Miss Pendergrass, after careful review, your complaints have been found to be not only without merit, but bordering on harassment, defamation, and misuse of county resources. You are hereby instructed to cease and desist from filing further reports unless supported by actual evidence. We are initiating an audit into the operations of your HOA leadership. Please make all documents available within 48 hours. Sincerely, County Chairman Harold T., my dad." She went ghost. For 2 whole days. Blinds closed, no clipboard, no awkward jogs around the block in yoga pants, 3 sizes too tight. But we weren't done. Because Dad, oh, he had something better planned than a cease and desist. He wanted her to crumble publicly. He said, and I quote, "Theatrics are good for people who pretend to have power. Let's give her an audience." That weekend, my father arranged something that would take this from petty to legendary. Karen had embarrassed herself locally. Now it was time for her to get humiliated, federally. So Karen vanished for 72 hours. We thought she'd finally decided to go on a yoga retreat or get baptized in a pool of lavender oil or something. But nah, turns out she was lawyering up. The lawyer she hired? A freshly licensed ambulance chaser named Ted with a discount office in the back of a vape shop. Karen marched in with a tote bag full of printouts and TikToks and said she wanted to press felony charges on the young drug baron next door. Ted, God bless him, took one look at the case, swallowed his pride with a sigh of instant regret, and said, "This is not how felony charges work." But Karen, she wouldn't quit. She started pacing around his office, ranting about how I was destroying the moral fabric of the community with my Lamborghinis. I don't even own a Lambo. That's how delusional she was. She was inventing luxury cars now. Meanwhile, I was busy hosting a weekend getaway at my estate. I'd converted my backyard into a full Moroccan-themed oasis, couches with gold trim, imported rugs, a camel, a live camel. I had a man in a tuxedo pouring cocktails out of a genie lamp. Even my koi pond had a fog machine. Karen peeked through her blinds and nearly threw her Keurig out the window. I saw her mouthing something. Probably Satan has arrived. But the real show was brewing behind the scenes. See, Dad had reached out to his friend at the state attorney's office, not to flex, just to quietly ask if it was illegal for a private citizen to forge reports, falsify evidence, and file knowingly false criminal accusations across 3 government departments. Spoiler alert, it is. Very. They didn't just look into Karen, they ripped open her entire HOA kingdom like a bag of stale pretzels. Turns out she'd been cooking the books for years, charging residents for security upgrades that didn't exist, funneling dues into a beautification project that was actually just her personal Botox fund. She once billed the HOA for an $800 office chair that was actually a massaging recliner in her living room. So here's where things got nuclear. Dad scheduled a mandatory county meeting and subpoenaed Karen. She strutted in wearing her usual power blazer like she was walking onto a courtroom drama set. But when she saw the officials seated around the table, eyes sharp and folders thick, the confidence drained from her faster than her HOA budget. She sat down, adjusted her pearls, and tried to smile. It looked like a nervous cat about to get vacuumed. They opened with, "We have questions about these forged reports and financial discrepancies, Miss Pendergrass." Boom. Her knees wobbled. She immediately blamed the HOA treasurer, who, for the record, is her Yorkie named Bubbles that she lists on paper as assistant treasurer. When they brought out a blown-up copy of her forged affidavit, she actually tried to say, "I thought it was just a community safety suggestion form." She played dumb. Then she played victim. Then she played confused. The trifecta of HOA, Karen defense tactics. But none of that worked. The room was cold. My dad leaned forward slowly, looked her dead in the eyes, and said, "You tried to ruin my son's name. You accused him of crimes based on zero evidence. You used government channels like your personal gossip hotline. You know what that's called? Defamation, fraud, misuse of authority, and we're just getting started." Karen blinked. Once, twice. Then she fainted, right there in the county hall. Karen came to on the cold tile of the county boardroom, blinking up at a ring of suits and one very unimpressed paramedic. They offered her water. She asked if she could speak to the manager of the courthouse. Dad leaned down and said, "Hi, that's me." Her soul briefly left her body a second time. From there, the avalanche hit fast. A formal investigation into Karen's HOA shenanigans launched that very afternoon. Within 24 hours, every resident in the neighborhood got an official letter detailing the misuse of funds, unauthorized surveillance, and Karen's forged reports. Her favorite words, community standards, got weaponized against her. Turns out, running a dictatorship under the illusion of flower regulations and lawn height rules is real cute until someone checks the receipts. But the best part? The court date. I showed up in a tailored Brioni suit, fresh cut, driving my Ferrari with the roof down and classical music blasting just to be extra spicy. Karen pulled in behind me in a dusty Honda CRV with a bumper sticker that said, Hoey Power, and the engine wheezing like a sick raccoon. She looked like she hadn't slept since the Nixon administration. Her face was powdered up like she was hiding in witness protection, and her lawyer? Still Ted from the vape shop. His suit was 2 sizes too big, and he had mustard on his tie. In the courtroom, I watched her squirm as my attorney laid out everything: her false police reports, forged documents, obsessive stalking, unauthorized use of HOA funds, and public defamation. The judge actually chuckled when he saw the spreadsheet she made connecting my unusual wealth to drug cartel aesthetics. One of her entries said, "Drinks Fiji water equals definitely laundering money." I kid you not. The judge leaned back, adjusted his glasses, and said, "So let me get this straight. You accused a 20-year-old of running an international drug operation because he had a nice pool, wore Gucci slides, and liked sushi?" Karen opened her mouth. Nothing came out but the sound of her reputation collapsing like a folding chair. Then came the kicker. My father stepped forward, calm as ever, and submitted a motion for defamation and harassment damages, not just on my behalf, but also against the county for wasting time and resources on her delusional nonsense. He requested Karen cover legal costs, public retraction, and removal from all HOA positions permanently. Karen's jaw unhinged. She looked at Ted. Ted looked at the floor like it had answers. The judge banged the gavel. Motion granted. Boom. Game over. Karen was slapped with a $120,000 judgment. HOA privileges revoked, neighborhood reputation vaporized. She had to stand in front of the entire community during a mandatory meeting and read a statement admitting she'd made it all up. The neighbors filmed it. Someone added music and uploaded it to TikTok. It hit 2.4 million views in 2 days. The top comment? Plot twist. Karen got HOA'd by God. She tried to appeal. Denied. She tried to move. Too broke. Last I heard, she works part-time at a lawn ornament shop and drives Lyft on weekends. Every time she passes my house, she looks the other way. As for me, I added a third Rolls Royce, just because I could. Threw another party too. Invited the sheriff, the judge, and the sushi chef again. My dad made a toast to HOA Karens. May they keep underestimating the kids of county kings. And that, folks, is how you turn a Ferrari flex into full court revenge. Thanks for watching Peace Stories. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy watching wicked HOA Karens get absolutely annihilated.